we are ready to get started with it, going over the executive session. But first, let's stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. Senator Altshuler, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I have a motion to go into executive session?
Motion to go into executive session?
Thank you. The Senate Education Committee will be in executive session. The first bill we're taking up is House Bill 112. And there's the amendment to that one was taking out two redundant sentences, and that is the only thing on that one, so I'm looking for a vote.
I'd like
A
to make
motion?
a motion to vote to pass on House Bill 112 FM.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion.
Madam Chair, you mentioned there was an amendment
It's the,
for
they
1465?
took out, there were sentences that were redundant, that were repeated, and those were taken out. That is the change in the amendment. So if you look at,
Is that, I'm sorry, Senator Ward, are we looking at Amendment 1465 or 1529?
we're looking at House Bill 112.
Yes, we've got two amendments for that.
The 1529,
1529,
Yeah.
okay.
they eliminated the repetitious sentences in there. That's the only change in that one.
Yes. Yes, it's Senator Ward's amendment.
So we have a motion to pass, and we have a second. And is there any discussion on the bill?
So at this time, I would offer amendment number 2026-1529.
1529. We have a motion to accept the amendment.
Two amendments discussed simultaneously, or are we doing one at a time?
I think we're only discussing
I'm sorry, could you
1529.
use the microphone, please?
Oh, thank you. Sorry, I've got your amendment, 1529. Is that what we're discussing, or are we bringing in a new one also for discussion?
1529, yes.
I
Two at
offer
the-
1529.
Oh, you offered 1529. I thought you just offered
And that
1638.
removed redundant sentences.
Okay, so
Yeah, that's for.
Oh, that's for Tim Bill, sorry. Thank you, thank you, thank you. There's a lot of papers.
just clarifying, may I? So this is Senator Ward's amendment 1529. And Senator Abbas, you just made the motion to offer it, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I want.
I'll second.
All right.
All those in favor of the amendment, 1529, yes?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Move on to pass as amended.
Now, with the underlying bill with the amendment, the 112 FN, have a motion about to pass?
A second?
In a second, any further discussion?
I-
Senator Altshuler?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate the efforts that were made in the amendment. The bill essentially prescribes curriculum for the college and university system, and that is outside the scope of our role, I believe, and the college and community colleges and university system should be developing their own curriculum. And I think we are opening a door that we should not be going through. So I will not be supporting this bill.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Senator Prentice?
Thank you, Chair Ward, and you'll all be happy to hear that I'm going to use my voice sparingly today. But I can't, I think the amendment goes far to make this better. I'm still concerned that we are dipping our, we're leaning into telling the university system, basically, we're dipping into their world. It's like telling doctors how to prescribe medicine. We are getting into, this prescription of this particular education where they already offer civics courses, which we have now, so, put our hand on it or passed and recognized that. I think it's an extra requirement. I think that it is unnecessary, especially where in high schools in New Hampshire, children are already required to go through and take this particular test. We're just offsetting something and costing a system more money when we should really be investing in that system. So all of that to say, I don't want to tell the university system any more to do than what they're already doing. Doesn't make me any less civically engaged or respectful of the United States. They're already doing a lot. I think we've taken a lot away rather than investing in them. And I think that with New Hampshire kids coming up through the ranks, already doing this, this issue is addressed, except for out-of-state students, and I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Are you ready to vote? All those in favor of ought to pass on 112?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, that's 3. Opposed?
Nay.
2. Okay.
I can take that one.
Abbas, you want to take it out?
I'll take it out.
Senator Abbas will take it out. The next one is 1368. No, 1268, I'm sorry, 1268.
Okay.
I think we just got an amendment. Right now, it's on 1268. We just received an amendment for this. I don't know if we need a minute to review this.
Yes.
Okay. Trevor suggests we do the FMs first.
Okay.
Okay. Good idea, Trevor.
Oh, this is not an FM.
Is there an updated FN? Oh, okay. I thought you were,
1268 is an FN?
Is not.
No, okay.
So he's suggesting that we move on to the FNs and then get back to that since we just got an amendment that we haven't had a chance to review.
Yes, let's wait with the FN. They take the FN bills first because they have to be out. So the next, that will be 1774.
Do you need a motion on that?
That has to do with it relative to qualifying scholarship granting organizations and federal work grants. And we have an amendment by Senator Innes.
First, I'd like to make a
No,
motion.
Senator Lang,
I think we're good. I'd like to make a motion of odd to pass on HB 1774 FN,
second that.
seconded by Senator Prentice. It's good to hear a little bit.
To pass. Now we have the amendment 1567 by Senator Lang.
Oh, I've got it.
you're welcome.
Make the annual election required under 26 U.S.C. Section 25F, so that New Hampshire citizens may claim the federal tax credit as provided for in that section, beginning in taxable years ending after December 31st, 2026.
Madam Chair, I think we need to introduce that. So I'd like to introduce Amendment 2026-1567.
I'll second. And Madam Chair, what I can say is, I believe last
This
time
corrects
we were
it.
here, there were some discussion about concerns that the department had about some of the language
Yeah.
involving the tax credit.
Mhm.
I suggested to the committee that I would look into that. By look into it, I really just pass it off to Senator Lang, who's the chair of the Ways and Means Committee, and I figured he would be a colleague that was good, well-suited to address this.
Okay.
This is the language that he came up with.
Do you approve of this amendment? Okay.
Yes. And I do know he worked with the department to come up
Okay.
with this.
All those in favor of the
No, I'm
amendment?
sorry, Senator,
Oh, no.
Senator Prentice has a question.
Oh, no, this was the conflict that needed to be resolved. I appreciate it's resolved. I'm going to support it.
Okay.
That's all. Yeah.
All those in favor of amendment 1567?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
So it's 3-2?
I'm sorry, was that
No.
opposed?
I think so.
It was not opposed. It was
Okay.
in favor.
No,
It's just
no,
delayed.
yeah.
Senator Prentice, are you opposing?
No,
No,
I raised my
okay.
hand.
And Senator Altsheler?
I approve the amendment.
You approve of it? Okay, great. Thank you. Now we go to the underlying bill. We have an ought to pass on the underlying bill. Any further discussion?
I'll move on to pass as amended.
We have the amendment.
I'll second.
We have a motion of ought to pass with amendment and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Senator Prentice, aye. So that's 5-0. Prentice, do you want to take it out? Okay,
I'll move for consent.
so we put it on consent?
So moved.
Second.
Consent, 5-0, and Senator Prentice will take it out.
I have one. I have extra. I got two in my folder, so that's probably why you didn't get one.
That's probably what happened to mine.
And this next to the FN.
Good thing you sit next to me. I got all kinds of treasures.
We're becoming a good team.
So the next FN bill will be 1817.
Okay.
And just, Madam Chair, just for point of reference, 1817
Mhm.
is also in its entirety part of 1268. It doesn't mean the 1268, I'm not foreshadowing anything there, I'm just saying, I'm just pointing that cross-reference out.
Okay.
And, Madam Chair?
Yes.
Can I make a recommendation that we do 1268 first? Because I think part of 1268 gets amended to out into this bill. So, but we'd have to approve that first,
I thought I had it.
right?
Here we go. But that's not an FN bill.
But
You wanna
they
take it
both
out
have to
anyhow?
get done, I
Okay.
think, today, because, just because of the way that they've been
Okay,
amended.
so those two hang together. Okay,
Yeah.
let's do then 1268. It has to do with modifying the structure and administration of home education programs.
Great. I'd like to make a motion ought to pass on 1268.
I have a motion of 1268, a motion of ought to pass on 1268. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second. Discussion.
Right. I know that there is an amendment, but before that is offered, Madam Chair, I just want to state the extent that we do anything with an amendment or not, on page 3, lines 5 to 16, particularly 5 to 10, that involves warrants and probable cause to search. It creates a carve-out for basically families that are providing homeschool education. Philosophical preferences aside, that's just going to be problematic in the application of the warrants being executed in a law enforcement context. One, it's not going to even be under the RSAs that involve all the search warrants and everything, which is one issue, but it just, I believe there was an attorney who was testifying. I asked him a question. I think based on his answer, him and I may not agree on the interpretation of it. I know lawyers don't agree on a lot of stuff, so that's, but I just think that to the extent that this is reinstating the current law, it's not necessary. I think it's creating a carve-out, which I also don't believe is warranted to do in these circumstances. So I would just, I can keep going on some of the problems with it as drafted, but I think it's easier just to strike that lines 5 to 10 on page 3. Then on page 3, lines 11 to 16, creates a penalty section. Well, I'm not really clear that that's going to be needed if you get rid of the warrant section. One, you don't need a penalty, even if you kept it, you don't need it. In here, you would have other remedies under the law anyway, but
Okay.
I would just ask that those,
You want to make a committee amendment of striking line 5?
5 to 16 on page 3 of the original bill.
Line 5 through 16?
Yes. Page 3.
And what would you like to do?
So I would,
You want to put the amendment in there?
yeah, yes, but there's also amendment number 1689H that I have here. So I
Okay.
think that,
I have an auto pass on the bill, and we have an amendment. The amendment is 2026-1689H. It's a House amendment. It's section 2. Okay.
So is the chairwoman taking ownership of Amendment 1268? I mean, 1689? H?
16898 is what I'm discussing.
I understand, but
Yep.
House members can't bring in amendments to a Senate bill.
I think it would be a committee amendment.
We're going to make it a committee amendment?
I already kind of started a committee
I
amendment. so
understand,
this
yeah.
could be, I was suggesting this could be added to the
Committee amendment,
if-
gotcha. Okay,
if
thank you
it's-
for the clarification.
If that's what the committee wants to do.
So I need a motion on the committee amendment.
Is the committee amendment going to essentially adopt amendment 20261689H as well?
Mhm.
I think,
All those in favor of the committee amendment?
aye.
Aye.
Are we still, we're not in discussing it mode anymore, so if we're not discussing, I'm gonna vote no. I really, really appreciate Senator Abbas's work and wanted to fully support that, but I do not support 1689.
Any further discussion on the amendment?
And it does,
Okay. You ready to vote on the
Yes.
amendment? Who is in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
1, 2, 3. That's 3, and opposed? So there's 3 to the amendment, okay. And I have an auto pass on the bill, and Senator Abbas wants to make a committee amendment of deleting line 5 through
16,
just line 16.
yes, and we adopted the language of 1689.
Okay, but after line 16, there are a couple of sentences. You want to keep those in?
Page 3.
Line 16 ends with "to school and community," and then a new sentence, "for purposes of allowing access." And then it goes 17, 18, 19, and 20.
Yeah, line 17 I mean, I think the Roman numeral numbers are going to change, but that has to do with just confidential information when it's disclosed.
So you
that's fine.
want to,
So I would leave that in.
what do you want to leave in, 17, 18, 19?
I would leave all that in as it's
Okay.
written.
So you're deleting line 5 through line 16 that ends with to school and community.
I'm on page 3. That's where everything is deleted. So mine ends with, shall be personally liable for damages not less than $1,000 per violation, including reasonable attorney fees to the aggravated family.
Agreed.
Um,
Are you leaving that in?
Well, no, we're taking that out.
Yeah.
For 2 reasons. One, there's a separate bill that we had in children and family law that addresses with filing false reports. This language would conflict with that. And that's,
Okay, so we're not discussing anything on page 2. We're talking about, page 3, page 2.
oh,
Page 2. What about page? I thought we were on.
I have the front page, I have page 2. This one right here starts with an act, and then I have page label 2, label 3, label 2. Okay, I counted as page 3. So you're talking about line 5 on page 3,
yeah,
page 2,
no, page 3.
okay? Which starts with that's the Roman numeral 4,
6.
okay?
Yep.
You want to,
No, where it says, no agent of the Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Children, Youth, and Families, or any law enforcement officer shall enter or inspect the home of a family engaged in home education. That section is stricken for reasons I stated earlier. Lines 11 to 16 conflicts with a bill that I want to say we passed it on consent. I'm not, don't quote me on that, but, and we passed that in the in the last year. It just didn't make it out of the committee at conference because of other reasons.
okay,
It would conflict with that policy.
let's go through this again. We have an amendment we have agreed on that is part of this bill. And the committee amendment is that you want to delete line 5 on page 2.
Page
3.
3.
Okay,
Roman numeral 6.
it starts with Roman numeral 6,
Correct.
and you want to go through 16.
Yes, basically Roman numeral 6 and 7 need to, I would have those stricken.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Okay.
Madam
Oh,
Chair.
Help,
Can I
yes,
ask a question about what we're talking about right now?
yes, Senator
Okay.
Altshuler.
Thank you. So, Senator Abbas, if we look down past line 16 to Roman numeral 8, any information submit on page 3, any information submitted to any state agency, school district, or government entity regarding a home education program shall be confidential and shall not be disclosed to any other state agency, federal agency, or third party without the written consent of the parent. So when we are in family court, who are we talking about?
Well, so are you asking how that would operate? Would be
Right,
applied?
so if there's a, right, if,
Well, if both parents have legal custody, I assume they would both have access to.
this bill assumes legal custody.
No,
Yeah,
I'm not.
that's what I'm
not-
saying.
No, I don't think it does. I'm just
You
saying.
don't, okay,
You asked me how applied in family court, so
yep,
if you had
part 8.
each part, if they had joint legal custody, they both would have access to whatever's submitted to the court.
Mhm.
It's, I don't see that being an issue. If one lacks legal custody, only, meaning one of the two parents have sole legal custody, but
Or
they,
Partial?
well, they can make power votes in the court order, you're correct.
Mhm.
But let's just say that it was 100% legal custody in one of the parents, generally the parent without legal custody wouldn't even have access to the school records unless the court order carved that exception out. So I would imagine a similar carve-out would be needed here, which is usually, if they're going to make an education carve-out, the order should address that. It's,
So would it be prudent then to just take lines 5 through 21 out, since that would be addressed? I think that this introduces conflict into family law and creates unnecessary friction.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I don't think it creates a conflict that's not already there. Meaning like the conflict you're talking about, that's something that's being worked on in the court. I'm saying this policy aside, I don't think it impacts or changes that conflict that exists. Because the court can order the reverse, even if you got rid of this.
But this says that one of the parents can keep all of their home education programming confidential from another parent, unless the court says otherwise.
I don't think it's, I don't read it to say that.
Well, it shall not be disclosed to any other state agency, federal agency, or third party without the written consent of
But
the parent,
this
not
is-
parents,
No,
the.
I understand what you're saying. This is the information that is sent, like, if you submit information to an agency, the school district, a government entity, keep in mind that they're subject to confidentiality, but the parent themselves is not. They can share with whoever they want, if they choose to do so. This is meaning, though, the government, the school district, or the state agency, they're the ones that are bound by confidentiality. Similar to like a doctor, right? It's confidential. The doctor can't disclose it, but the patient can say whatever they want. Maybe ill-advised, but they can do it.
Okay, let's get back to the committee amendment. I have a proposed committee amendment to delete section Roman numeral 6 and 7. To delete those two paragraphs. Any further discussion on it? Can we vote on it?
Is this a second committee amendment or the entire?
This is the committee amendment.
Didn't we just say that we're
That is
including?
another amendment. That is an amendment.
It can't be because it came from a House member unless one of us is adopting it.
Madam Chair, but I can make a parliamentary inquiry. I was under the impression when I suggested a committee amendment that we do the committee amendment, which would include whatever the language is in 1689. So I thought the committee amendment I proposed that we previously voted on included what is otherwise 1689, in addition to striking lines 5 to 16 on page 3.
So what you were proposing is to strike 6 and 7 on page 3 and replace it? Or not have this. This thing, if we strike 6 and 7, we don't need the amendment. Is that what you're saying?
No, I believe my committee amendment was basically taking the language that's in 1689, but making it a committee amendment. And then in addition to what 1689 does, I was also striking lines 5 to 16, that's Roman numeral 6 and 7, that's on page 3.
Right, page 3.
That's what I thought my motion was.
Yeah, as one.
Which is what we just voted on.
That is what we've been discussing for the past 5 minutes.
But we already voted on it.
To delete section 6, or paragraph 6, Roman numeral 6 and 7 on page 3, which is line 5 through 16. Delete that as a committee amendment.
Senator Ward, if I may, what Senator Abbas is saying, the motion that the committee just adopted as the committee amendment included the language in Representative Noble's Amendment 1689, as well as Senator Abbas's suggestion of striking Roman numeral 6 and 7.
Okay, so what is
So everything is set.
what
now
is
we
the
need-
final product?
Now we need an OTPA motion. ought to pass with the committee amendment.
I'll go with ought to pass as amended.
I'll second.
Okay. You're talking about the committee amendment?
Yes.
Okay. Any other vote to pass the committee amendment? All those in favor?
Aye.
You
So-
got that
Ought
down?
to pass as
As
amended.
amended.
Okay, the underlying bill with the other committee amendment?
Yes. We just,
Can we recess for a moment, please?
Before you vote on this one?
Can we recess first?
Can I ask
Yes.
for a
I
recess?
think there's some confusion.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's take a 5-minute recess.
So the committee already adopted the Noble amendment with Abbas's recommendation. That was the first vote we took. So
Okay.
now, all we need is ought to pass as amended.
Okay,
We don't need to adopt any more committee amendments.
so we are not striking 6 and 7.
Yes, we are. That was a part of the original, the first vote we took.
Okay. So that is the committee amendment, we passed that.
And we did it in combination. We adopted that, which is the same.
This one is adopted, the committee amendment is adopted, but
And then we just need ought to pass as amended. and we're
right,
good to go.
so.
we're out of recess. So we have the amendments adopted, and now we have to vote on the bill as amended. All those in favor of 1268?
We need, I believe, can
With the
you rephrase-
amendment.
Can you redo your
Ought to
motion?
pass as amended is the motion.
Ought to pass as
I'll
amended.
second.
And we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's 3-2, okay.
Can you just call the nays?
Pardon?
Can you just call the nays?
Yes. We're out of recess.
Just all those opposed.
Yes, all those opposed? 2. Do you want to take it out? Do you want to take it out? You can explain what's, okay, Abbas will take it out.
I'll explain what I did.
Your explanation. So now we're done with 1268. And let's not go back to 1817, which is an FN bill. Eighteen seventeen. Relative to access to curricular courses and co-curricular programs within school districts. And I have an, did you all get the amendment from Representative Noble? 1686 is the amendment.
Yes, 1817.
So Madam Chair, just for cross references, essentially 1817 is included in 1268. What's really, it's as a standalone policy versus some of the other policies created by 1268. So I wouldn't say we could move this one forward too. This one has a FN. I don't know if it's been waived or not, but I would just point that out as a,
So you feel that whatever 1817, what's in it is already included in 1358?
I believe it is.
Okay.
With that being said, 1268 does contain a lot more policy in addition to that that's unrelated to this standalone. So I would recommend moving 1817 forward with an ought to pass motion, and then there is an amendment
We have an amendment.
which is the amendment number is 1686. So I'll move on to pass, and then I would offer that amendment.
So even though much of this is included in the previous bill that we just finished, you feel that we should pass this one?
Yes, and it might be not to foreshadow, but it might be I don't know. We may hold on to one, if you know what I mean.
Okay. So, I need a
Clarifica-
motion of bill number 8, the House
Point of
Bill
order,
1817.
Madam Chair, point of
Yes,
order.
Senator Altshuler.
Amendment 1817 cannot be introduced unless a Senate member is going to take it, because it is a House amendment. So,
It is, the amendment 86 is a House amendment.
Yeah, so
yes,
Yes.
we can't do that. Somebody here has to bring it forward.
Madam Chair, respectfully, I believe my colleague's correct. When I worded it that way.
Are you
I
going
need-
to take
I-
responsibility for this
I need-
amendment?
I need to offer it as a committee amendment, so I apologize. So my motion was technically,
Trevor, do you have any suggestion?
Yep, as
Yeah.
long as Senator Abbas recommends it as a committee amendment, we can adopt that language.
It will
would
be as a committee amendment.
yes.
Okay. So we have a committee amendment to 1817. But first, we have to move on the bill. Do I have ought to pass on the bill?
I'll move on to pass.
I'll second.
Okay, then we'll deal with the committee amendment. So that committee amendment doesn't have a number then, does it, Trevor?
No, but just adopting the language
Okay.
from 1686H.
Okay. So all those in favor of the committee amendment to HB 1817?
Sorry.
Senator
Aye.
Abbas?
I'm in favor.
Aye.
So I have a yes on the committee amendment. Opposing the committee amendment?
Night.
No, yes?
We need a thumbs up, thumbs down.
I don't know what that is.
Thumbs down. Safe.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, that's it. Thumbs down.
So the committee amendment passes. Now the bill with the underlying amendment. I have an ought to pass. Any further instruction and further
I'll
discussion
move
on
on to pass as amended.
I'll second.
with amendment? Okay. All those in favor of ought to pass with amendment?
Aye.
1, 2, 3. That's 3. And opposed?
Nay.
Nay, that's 3, 2. Okay, I'll take that one out. So let's see, it's
I think it's
17,
easier,
now we
isn't it?
have. Okay. Let's do 1832, there's another FN bill.
I'd like to make a motion of interim study for HB 1832 FM.
We have an interim study, and do I have a second?
If we could discuss that first. I did have a replace all amendment that I would like to discuss.
Did you have a replace all amendment?
Yes.
Where is it? Here it is, okay.
It's amendment number 1410S.
You want to talk about your amendment? This is 1410.
So what I think I
That's
would
the
have,
Senate amendment.
I would have to move ought to pass first.
I already moved, oh, the amendment, yeah.
Okay. So are you ready to vote on the amendment? All those in favor?
Are you moving it?
You have-
Laurel?
We,
Yes, I would like to offer amendment 1410S.
So we already have an interim study motion that would have to be pulled back, and then another motion, a positive motion would have to be made.
Okay, I will withdraw my interim study motion.
Okay, withdraw an interim study. And we have the ought to pass on Senate Amendment 1410. Now, we have an ought to pass on that one. I think we have, what, 3-2 and opposed 2?
This is to adopt 1410S, which essentially, it's a replace all, and when it comes to it does open up somewhat the bidding process, for administering the EFA program, but it just not, when I say open it up, it allows for, a qualified entity approved by the Department of Education. So it's relatively straightforward.
So I have an
Madam
amendment
Chair?
that has been adopted, and we go back to the bill. We change
No,
from-
it has not been adopted. We're discussing the amendment, right? We're still discussing the amendment.
We took a vote on the amendment,
No, we didn't.
3-2.
No,
No,
we
we
didn't
have-
take a vote on it.
We haven't taken a vote yet.
He just
How come I
introduced it
haven't?
2 seconds ago.
Something is not working
All right,
this morning.
can we take a 5-minute recess?
Senator Abbas,
We're gonna take a 5-minute.
okay, we'll take a recess to
Darrell.
get this thing straightened out.
Yeah,
Can we talk over here? Sidebar, as you say,
Sidebar, yeah, let's have a sidebar.
language that we understand.
It's just. Okay, so we're back to House Bill 1832.
Okay.
We're out of recess, by the way.
Thank you.
So,
Okay.
I'll withdraw my amendment.
You're withdrawing.
The Senate Amendment 1410 has been withdrawn. Now we're back to the original bill, 1832. We have a motion?
Make a motion to interim study.
I'll
I have a
second.
Motion for interim study. And a second. Any discussion on interim study? Okay, no discussion. Are you ready to vote on interim study?
Yes, ma'am.
All those in favor of interim study?
Aye.
1, 2, 3,
Aye.
4. Opposed, 5. 5, 0. 32.
Move for consent.
Second.
32. Okay. I have a second for consent. All those in favor of consent?
Aye.
Aye.
Senator Altshuler, do you want to take that out?
Surely. Thank you.
This one here, 1792.
Let's just keep this.
Okay, the next one is 1792. House Bill 1792.
We need to.
Now we have a motion on the bill.
1792.
Senator.
That's a fat one.
Did you talk to Grant on this one?
I move ITL.
Where's Grant? Where's Grant?
Not here. Of course he is. Your microphone's not on.
Okay, we're holding off on 1792 with waiting for a phone call. So let's take a look at,
Senator Ward, we do have a motion. I don't know if it received a second, but
I don't
I-
think I have a second on it.
In fairness,
I didn't have,
I'd love to second. In fairness, I would second this, but I had heard the conversation at this end of the table that we, and even earlier, that we were waiting procedurally for a motion to come forward, so I just want to let that happen. Or that amendment to come forward. And whether I agree with it or not, it's just, I was here for the, I was here when Grant was talking about it with Trevor, so.
Okay, for
I'd
the,
love to second this ITL, but I'm going to be true to process at this moment and hold firm.
in deference to process, I will withdraw my ITL.
you talked about 1792.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Okay,
And my apologies for not
okay,
sharing that earlier. That's all.
okay.
Don't say I'm not a team player.
I'm waiting for a phone call to let us know whether or not this will be exempt from going to finance. So I have an ITL on the bill, and if we can have a recess on the bill, then we can discuss it afterwards. And wait a little bit until I have that phone call.
We have other bills we can move on to.
So let's move to 14. Let's see, no, let's take them in order. 1358. Okay, 1358.
They can make a motion of ought to pass on HB 1358.
I have an ought to pass on 1358. And I have an amendment to 1358. It is a, 1358 is establishing a commission to study transitioning all public schools to public charter schools. And the amendment,
This adds a
is
special
essentially
education.
that it adding a member representing the Special Education Committee on the commission. That is the request.
So I think the first motion, I made motion ought to pass. I don't think I received a second yet, though.
Do I have a second on the bill or on the motion?
On the bill.
Oh, okay, I need a second on the bill. I'll second it.
And then I'd like to bring forward amendment 226-1619S.
And the amendment adds a special education teacher to the commission. That's the only change for that.
Yep.
So to have a motion on the amendment,
Ought to pass.
To adopt the amendment?
Yeah.
I'll offer the amendment.
you ought to pass on the
To-
amendment?
No, I'm just offering the amendment.
She just did.
I already offered the amendment.
Oh, now second that.
Okay, thank you.
Any discussion at all about the amendment? Okay. All those in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Aye. Senator Altshuler?
Nope.
No?
I think we just have to ask nays,
Okay.
because I think Senator Prentice is also a nay.
You're a nay? You don't want to add a special education
I
teacher?
know, it's really
Okay.
hard for you to do that.
You'll have three, too.
You can't make yourself do it.
Okay, have an ought to pass on House Bill 1358.
Could I just inquire one question? So that,
Want to pass the bill with the underlying amendment?
yes, I guess for the charge of I'm looking at what's the charge of the commission. It limits like what, study the feasibility and potential impact of transitioning all public schools in New Hampshire to operate as public charter schools.
That's the bill. The study of transitioning.
The feasibility and potential impact of doing such.
Yep.
Okay.
So further discussion on the bill?
I think we just need an OTPA motion.
Okay,
Order?
I'll make a motion of ought to pass as amended.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have an ought to pass with amendment and a second. Any further discussion on 1358? Ready to vote? All those in favor of House Bill 1358?
Aye, as amended.
Aye.
Ought to pass as amended.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay? Nay? Okay, 3-2. Sullivan, do you want to take it out?
I will.
There are all kinds of time because Pork Fest was canceled.
1374. Relative to the procedure for withdrawal from a cooperative school district. And I have an amendment to that bill.
We have to have a motion
After
on the,
replacing it.
on the bill.
Okay. You have an OTP?
Sure, I'll make a motion ought to pass on House Bill 1374.
No, I have a second to the OTP on 1374.
I'll make a second.
We have a second. Okay, now we have an amendment. This has to do with school districts or towns wanting to get out of a SAU, wanted to be on their own or do something different. And it has been a lot of problems because many of the smaller towns don't have enough people to go against the number of people from a larger towns. So they're trying to come up with some way of dealing with that. Now, Senator Innes's amendment, it replaces the whole bill.
I'd like to make a motion to bring forward Amendment 2026-1566S.
1556. Have an, to pass on the bill, on the amendment. A second?
No, I have a,
I'll second.
Yeah, do I have a second? Senator Altshuler.
yes, as a clarification, this bill is not about withdrawing from a district. It's about withdrawing from a cooperative school district,
Okay.
which is a very different legal structure
Okay,
than an SAU. A cooperative school district can be encompassed within an SAU. So this is not about withdrawing from SAUs, it's about withdrawing from cooperative school districts.
Okay.
So just want to be clear that we're talking about the same thing.
thank you. I
And
stand
it's-
corrected.
And it is,
Apparently, they have the same problems.
well, when you've entered into a legal agreement with a cooperative district, you have assumed responsibility for not only the district itself, but any capital improvements done to any of the facilities within that. And so if we did a bill like this that simply says, one town can vote to withdraw, there is nothing here that accounts for the amount of capital that is owed, for instance, on a new school building, that they have participated in voting to build, but now they're leaving, and they're leaving their debt responsibility behind. And that's just one of the many, many problems that this bill does not address.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Senator Abbas?
The point's well taken. What would happen in a scenario, let's say there's renovations or improvements happening, but you have one district a part of the district that voted against it, and they didn't want it, whatever reason.
That's not how the voting works, though. You vote as a cooperative school district. You don't vote as individual towns. You vote as a district, and all the district votes for all the district. Similarly, when we are on a ballot for the cooperative school board members of every town vote for the members to be representative of all the other towns. So, for instance, within my school district, we have, one of my school districts, we have 6 towns. And all 6 towns vote for a representative from the 6 towns. Even though I only live in one, I vote for a representative to represent each of the 6 towns because that represents our school community as a whole, which we have agreed to all be a part of.
But would you need a majority support from each town? So I think what some of the testimony we heard was, they get an overwhelming, vote in the small town to go in a particular direction, but it's the rest of the district that's outvoting them, but because they're such a smaller town, they're not really able to provide any influence or impact.
Well, those same voters voted to be part of the cooperative district.
That is true.
So, I mean, those voters voted to enter into this legal contract.
Well, one of the
And
main things,
extracting from a legal contract is not a simple vote.
one of the main things in Senator Innes's amendment here is that the district have to review their contracts every 3 years, because apparently what has happened is that they have a contract, but they haven't taken a look at it. They really don't know if it's up to date with what's happening in the world today. So they're all caught short. So what he's suggesting here, that every 3 years, following the effective date, they have to review and approve approve the unapproved plans for organization, reorganization, withdrawal, and mergers as described in RSA 194-C:2. That will help some other towns to take a look at, say, what do we have in place here? Is this what we want today? Is it pertinent for us today? And that's one of the big points in his amendment.
And I don't, with all due respect, I don't think it's fair to say to a district, well, 50 years ago, people in your elected position decided to get into a contract and you can never get out of it, especially with declining enrollment with some districts. There may be better choices or better decisions for those students.
Thank you.
This, Madam Chair.
Senator Altshuler?
This legislation only requires a vote from the town that wants to withdraw. It doesn't require that every town within, that all the other towns within the cooperative school district also vote to dissolve the cooperative school district from it being a, for instance, 6-town district to a 5-town district. And, if a town makes the case that they, want to withdraw, then they need to make that case to the entire district that they agreed to be a part of, not just their own townspeople. That's the nature of a cooperative district. And so, this does not address that at all, and it doesn't address all of the agreements, and it adds a tremendous amount of administrative work that I think we have heard in this committee on dozens and dozens of occasions that our school budgets are just so overburdened with administrative work. And this sets up the perfect storm for more administrative work with I don't see any way that there is a support, or I don't see a fiscal note. Who pays for that? Who pays for the withdrawal? Who pays for the assembly of a new district? Who pays for, does that school that leave still have to pay for their portion of the new building that their voters agreed to build when they built a new building? Who pays for returfing all of the sports field that they agreed in a bond 3 years ago that they would be part of? So are they released from all of their obligations, their economic obligations to the district? And could a town be like, you know what, we just don't want to pay for any of that stuff, and we're just going to dissolve and send our kids to, tuition them out? That's not how cooperative school districts, that's not the reason they were formed. And the cooperative district as a whole has to agree as a whole because they have formed this entity.
Okay, I hear you. I just think that if you have a contract with anything involving all kinds of things, it doesn't hurt if you review it every 3 years.
Yes,
so
but
that
this
you
does
know
more than
if
that.
anything has changed.
This does way more. If you want to, I'm all for, you want to amend this out to just be a contract review every 3 years, you have my 100% support,
Okay.
100%. I'll speak to it on the floor, but that is not what this is about.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, I will say all those points raised, those are concerns under the existing law. I mean, because it's not like they can't withdraw. It's just this is just changing the policy on how you withdraw. All the collateral complications of withdrawal still exist
Right.
Under the current law or under this. It's just, so
Okay, so we're back to the amendment. 1566, and I have a note to pass on the amendment. All those in favor of what to pass on the amendment?
Senator Prentice.
Senator Prentice?
Thank you, Senator Ward. So here's my concern, and I've thought about this, and I've listened to what my colleagues have said. And, if you all vote to get in, then you all have to be a part of voting to get out. That is the nature of cooperative school districts. Now, and to Senator Ward's point about a review every so many years, yes, that should happen. But there are collateral complications. And if we are gonna, by doing this, impose collateral complications, there have to be, and I see a little bit of this in here, but not enough, exit plans that are part of the process when presented. It's almost like a negotiation. So I hear like maybe 20, 30, 40 years ago, this was a good idea, and now it's not. But if you all vote to get in, you all vote to get out, the collateral complications could be devastating to the other communities. Since they've all worked together before, why can't they develop an exit plan before they bring a vote for it? I mean, why aren't we shaping it in that direction or not at all? So, I mean, I'd be happy to work on, on an, is this an FN? An amendment? No, it's not, to bring it back that addresses, multiple steps before you get to the vote. But if you vote to get in, I'll vote to get in, you all vote to get out. You need to address the collateral complications, a process for that. All right, thank you. So I can't support this as it's written.
Would you want to do a floor amendment?
I'd be happy to do a floor amendment.
I mean, you can do that with a floor amendment if you want to change it.
I mean, we can take the vote any way we want today, but I'd be happy to come forward with a floor amendment that could provide for a softer landing with the democratic process for everyone in, everyone out, a plan with a softer landing and addressing the contract reviews that you've brought up, Senator Ward.
Thank you.
That's how I feel about it.
So
You don't have
ready
to
to
agree with
vote on
me.
the amendment?
Use my
Just
voice.
Schiller?
I just want to, point out that we did hear testimony that there have been, under the current law, there have been towns that have withdrawn from their cooperative school district. So the law we have in place now works. It actually has, there are opportunities to do that. There are a couple of towns that are upset because they don't like the process. And so this is an attempt to circumvent the rules that we put in place when we created the cooperative school districts for removal. And it is, and the collateral damage to the rest of the school district is way too high.
Senator Abbas?
I think there's some points being missed here. My understanding is for this to make it to the voters, so it's now on the ballot, at first, there has to be a withdrawal plan, and my understanding is it has to be approved by the Department of Education. And that is going to include a lot of I understand there's some concerns about the impacts of a district withdrawing, but everything's been approved before it even goes to the ballot. We
Actually,
have-
that's not in the amendment, actually. All it says is that 20 people can put together a petition, and it has to be heard at a school board meeting, and boom, it goes to the ballot. There's like right here on the lines 10 through 23 of Amendment 1566S does not include a petition to the State Board of Education or a review by the Department of Education. It's, it creates a very simple exit strategy that does not take into account any kind of landing or review.
But isn't that under the existing law that it requires?
This is the amendment,
Yes, but that would
new
strike,
section.
so that would supersede the existing law, so the Department of Education wouldn't be involved in approving any exit plan first. And I always thought that that's how it was done, simply so people knew what they were voting on.
Okay, we're still back at the amendment.
So this bill is definitely not ready.
All those in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Aye. Senator Abbas?
Oh, aye, yes.
You have to ask.
Opposed?
Nay?
Nay.
Nay.
Okay, so it's 3-2. Okay, now we have the bill with the underlying amendment. We have an O to P on it. All those in favor of ought to pass with the amendment?
We need a motion of ought to pass. I'll make a motion of ought to pass as amended.
Second.
So I have ought to pass with the amendments. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No? Down, opposed? Okay. Senator Abbas, do you want to take it out?
Sure.
Thirteen, no, 1448.
I'll make a motion of ought to pass on HB 1448.
I have an ought to pass on 1448. Do I have a second?
A second.
Any discussion? This has to do with the prohibiting the use of World Economic Forum materials within state curricula.
Madam Chair?
Yep.
I think it's
Senator.
concerning to see that outside forces are trying to design curriculum that's going to be implemented in American schools. I think it's a bad precedent. And we got confirmation that it actually is happening from the teachers union, so that is the reason for my support of this bill.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion?
I,
Senator Altshuler?
I think this is a manufactured outrage, and I'll save it for the floor, because it's just,
Okay.
this is silly.
So, may I?
Representative, Senator Ward, I'm sorry.
Senator Prentice?
Thank you. So, I mean, we study, or so earlier, I'll go back to the discussion about UNH and the civics course and the civics test, and my objection to us telling them what they have to add, what they have to add in. I'm gonna come here and say, I have an objection of pulling, saying, looking to educators and saying, you can't teach material that comes from the World Economic Forum, in the, kind of from the same lens, but I also want to add respectfully in that we talk about, or teachers are talking about, not just history of the United States, but history of the world as it impacts the United States. And history is part, it's part of all of this. Like, I don't think we can live from an educational perspective in such with such a narrow scope. So I feel my primary objection is the principled reaching into the classroom. The secondary objective is I just feel like we're getting too narrow, and we should, should be broader, and that's it. So I don't have an objection. I have an objection to the bill, not to the material, and that's okay to have differences of opinion.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any others? So are you ready to vote on
Sure.
1448?
I'd like, yes.
I have
Wait a minute.
I have an out to pay in a second on 1448, and there are no amendments. So-
I know.
Edmund.
I want to make
So
sure that
many
I'm,
today.
So those in favor of or to pass on House Bill 1448?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose?
Nay.
Nay?
Yes.
3-2.
I'll take it out.
You want to take it out
Did you?
with Abbas?
I can take it out.
Okay. The Senator Abbas will take it out. Okay. 1573. We'll go to House Bill 1573. That was the one that we had an amendment by Senator Lang, an amendment by me that required insertion in 3 different places to get it all straightened out. And I had asked the OLS to put that together so that we could actually see what the final bill would look like.
There's also one from Senator Abbas.
So we have,
So can we take a recess just to look these over and
Sure.
discuss this? Thanks. You good with that?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
We'll take a recess to take a look at it. So. You know, we got two of them.
I think that was Representative, why did you point out that Senator Ward's intention as well, so I just want to compare them. Yeah. With, okay. So Senator Ward's is from
So
Ward's
if you've got one document,
with Lang.
You need this one?
is it here?
We're back finishing up House Bill 1573, permitting excused absences for students participating in civic engagement or attending a career or technical education event. I need a motion on
So
the
I'll
bill.
make a motion of ought to pass
I have a motion ought to pass.
on Senate, on HB 1573.
Can I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Now, I have an amendment to the bill. Those of you who were here earlier, we had a hearing on Senator Lang's amendment, and there are some other changes there were three pieces that had to be put in the different sections of the original bill. So we asked the OLS to make all those changes, to put everything in so we would have one bill without being able to read it. So the Senate Amendment 1638 has those things in it, and that's what we want to pass today.
I'll move to offer Amendment 2026 26-1638S.
I'll second.
Or to pass in second. Any discussions? Because you'll be discussing the original bill plus the amendments that were already done.
Senator Ward?
Yes,
Senator,
Senator Prentice?
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Ward, and thank you, Senator Sullivan, for watching out for me over here. So this, I don't have, I've not had a problem with the original bill as it was introduced. But, you know, the non-germane amendment, and I tacking it on here is problematic for me. And it's not because I don't have I understand as much as I'm allowed to understand about a particular situation in a particular school district where a placement has been made in the best interests and that placement is being declined by the district that, or the school that is going to be receiving or should be receiving that child. I don't agree with what's happening, but we're getting in the middle of something here that I'm uncomfortable with. I think this is for these districts, these schools, these districts, these communities to work out together. So I'm not pleased with what's the situation as it is, but we're weighing in a way that could tip the scales in other cases in the future, become precedent setting and problematic. But I am again concerned about what's happening for this particular one child. This just is not the way to do it, in my opinion, so I won't be supporting this. It's unfortunate because I agree with the intent of the underlying bill that was brought forward by our House member. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, I think that the law as it currently stands today, I believe this was the intent of the law. There would be no point in going through the process of, establishing there's a manifest educational hardship and then appealing it to the state if there's no one, if the receiving school can just reject it. If no one wants to, there's no point of the rest of the law in the first place, if there's not a destination for one to arrive at. So I think what happened, we heard an example where that occurred. It's the only time that has happened, at least I'm aware of, it's the only time I've been presented to this committee. So I think there's a fair argument that the current law already covers this, but
Yes.
now you have a district that's now, not accepting the child. We don't need to get into all the facts of that, but the reasons for it, but you have the same superintendent for both districts. So I can see this resolves that conflict right now and puts it to end rather than let this play out in the court. And if the court ruled on this and went, in another direction, I would then support this even more than I do now. Because I think, again, the whole purpose of this law is when there's a child is demonstrated that educational hardship. So this, I think, makes the law cleaner.
Thank you. Senator Altshuler?
Thank you. Thank you. So while I can appreciate members wanting to not use a specific example, which is the first that we've heard in a very long time, then we should just not reference it, right? Because dancing around it to make your point is still referencing it. And the problem with, I'm going to say up front that I have absolutely zero problem with the original bill itself that is contained in this amendment on pages 1 and 2. It's only when we get to amend and replacing all after section 2 for the change of school assignments. And on line 30, it says the student shall be enrolled in the receiving public school. But first of all, we don't have any information, nor did we have any testimony about what the original intent was. So that's just speculation about the first, about RSA 193.3. But what we do know is that if there is a manifest educational hardship, the Board of Education shall grant the parent or guardian's request to reassign the student to another public school, public academy, or an approved private school within the district or to a public school, public academy, or an approved private school in another district. What it doesn't say is that this becomes a choice for the parents who have demonstrated the manifest hardship to school shop. This is not an opportunity for them to decide, well, you know what? I don't like my kid in this particular school, but that one is closer to my work, and so I want my kid to go to that one. That's not how any of this works. And, you know, the manifest hardship is for the child's learning opportunities. And having not attended any other school than the one that this child is currently in, it's not, we can't say whether the school, what another school may or may not, how that may or may not be successful for this child. But what we do know is that line 30 takes away local control. It takes away local control. And the chipping away at local control over this legislative session has been like drops of water on a stone, and it is wearing away, drip, drip, drip. And yes, children should be able to move to another school for a manifest hardship, but the State Board of Education cannot force a school district to take a particular child if the school board says, we can't do that. They got to go somewhere else.
Okay. Any others? Senator Prentice?
Thank you, Senator Warren, colleagues. And I do think that we are undermining the manifest educational hardship process by meddling in it, basically using the legislature as a lightning rod in this particular situation. So there is recourse elsewhere. Let's leave, I want to leave things intact in the law as is. And I've already made my other statement. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? I have an R2P on the bill, House Bill
Are we
1573.
adopting the?
And I have the amendments, 1638.
Just need a vote.
Are you ready to vote on the amendment?
Yes.
All those in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Okay, so that's 3-2. The underlying bill, 1573, with amendment 1638. I have an ought to pass. Any further discussion?
I'll second the ought to pass as amended.
Second, the ought to pass. Any further discussion on the bill with the amendment?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I
Senator
I
Oxley.
think it's a shame because we had a good bill that's been hijacked, and yeah, it's a shame it couldn't stand alone.
Any further discussion? Are you ready to vote on 1573 with the amendment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay?
Nay. Nay, so 3-2. I'll take it out. Trevor, I will take it out. Okay, now we have House Bill 1792.
I thought we were holding that. Where'd you get your phone?
I have an ought to pass on 1792. And we have an amendment. You want to speak to your amendment?
Yes.
Senator Ward, Senator Prentice just asked that I share the word we got from Grant, was that it did not get waived from finance yet, so we have
yes.
to take it up today.
We had asked Senator Gray if he would be willing
Oh, I
to
know.
pass. Okay,
That's why I
You just wanted
didn't
to-
want to, I didn't want to move it earlier because I was waiting procedurally for Senator Gray's response to come to the committee.
Right.
I just wanted that said for
Okay.
everybody. to hear.
so Senator Gray has not responded, so that's why we are going ahead with 1792. And it is an FN bill, so we have to have it out today.
So the amendment that I have is
You have that?
2026-1488S. And it's a complete replace all.
1488, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Did we make a motion?
Uh,
Senator Abbas,
Yes,
did you make a motion about to pass?
yes.
Okay, I'll
You could
second.
What the amendment does, it's not creating a new chapter in the law. It references RSA 193:40. That is the existing law on the prohibition on teaching discrimination. I was motivated to look back and read the case that came down that raised some constitutional concerns with what was already on the books. And just looking at that, they, particularly in the topic of vagueness, which they factored in both the mental state and some potential penalty consequence of violating the law, then, how clear and concise it is when someone is violating the law versus not. I think the easiest explanation I keep using is the speed limit. You're driving on the highway, the speed limit's 65. If you're going 67, you are technically speeding. I think it's very clear. I'm, again, looking at the court's rationale. What I did was this would eliminate from the existing law any of the civil penalties that existed under that chapter. So if one were to file a complaint or whatnot, it wouldn't be with the court, it would be with the state Department of Education. It would be purely an ethics issue. Also, for the mental state, which I know we had a bill earlier that discussed, made it knowingly, that's still floating around, that hasn't become law yet. I'm not sure of the stats in the House, but anyway, the current law that doesn't have a mental state, well, I decided it would best to make it purposefully, meaning you would have to intentionally violate this law. So if someone's intention, at least that's how they would have to show you are committing a violation of the law. And all the consequence would be, again, no civil lawsuit, no legal fees, nothing filed in any court. I think that reduces what the potential consequence is for someone who violates the law. Also, gives it the highest level of a mental state, is someone intentionally violating the law. And then in that case, I believe this revives that law, but that's just my opinion. If someone were to address that in the court, we'll see. But I think that this is the way to go. It's a replace all, it doesn't reference anything else from the underlying bill.
Any further discussion?
Madam Chair?
Senator Altshuler?
Yes, so I want to start backwards. On page 2 of the bill, it says, for the purposes of this section, educator means a professional employee of any school district whose position requires certification by the state board pursuant to 18939. Administrators, specialists, and teachers are included within the definition of this term. So is the intention to include part-time teachers because they do not require certification?
I can
Senator
address that.
Yes.
This is the only thing I did was add purposefully as the mental state, and then struck language from 193:40, which was the civil penalties that would also go along with the potential certification issues. So if that's there, that's the current law as well. Basically, and I understand you and I have had some, whether we were in one chamber or the other, we've had some debates on this, but what I think some of the debates that have come up had to do with the civil penalty. That was a topic that came up back in, when we were both members in the other chamber. This eliminates the civil penalties. Some people don't want to do that, but listen, I read the court pages, 50 pages of that opinion, where they discussed the vagueness and how they arrived at that conclusion. And part of the reason, the rationale of the court was they felt that the penalty was rather harsh when it's not like a clear line in the sand when someone's violating or not. And they felt that some people, without having that clear line, may operate further away from the line, so it may cover too much. That's why I said, well, if we made it purposefully, where they know they're violating the law, and essentially at that point doing it on purpose, and purposely is defined in a different RSA, but I'm also removing the civil penalty in its entirety. That's all this is doing. The rest of the terminology in here is identical to what's on the books right now. So we may disagree with that policy in whatever form, but I think this is, even if you didn't like that policy, this is an improvement of that, I think. It may be hard to argue against that.
Okay. I have another.
Senator Oshler?
Thank you. So thank you for the explanation about the removal of the civil penalty. That indeed was one of the concerns. Let's go back to the beginning of your amendment. I'm going to start on line 10. No pupil in any public school in this state shall be purposefully taught, instructed, inculcated, or compelled to express belief in or support for any one of the following. And then within the coterie of things, we get to line 13, A13, or national origin is inherently superior to people of another age. So let's just, for example,
That's
take,
the existing law.
let's just, yeah, let's take the pledge allegiance to the flag. Would that not be teaching, instructing, and inculcating based on a national origin? Are we getting ourselves further deeper into a policy that wasn't a good policy to begin with?
Well, I disagree that it wasn't good policy.
Okay,
With that being said,
that's it. That's it.
my goal here was to not dive into the details of the underlying of the policy, because we've debated that.
Why not, though?
Well,
That's what we're here for.
I do enjoy it, don't get me
Yeah, I
wrong.
know, that's,
But my point is that you have this law, this court issued its decision. So by making it purposefully and by striking the civil penalty section, I believe revives the law. With that being said, I'm not sure you and I would ever agree on the policy, but I didn't want to make changes to that because I think I didn't want to create any confusion, because that's worthy of its own debate, independent.
so this policy is one that the courts have rejected a couple of times. And so this is your answer to that rejection, in that adding purposeful will somehow move its way around the court's objections.
I think that my interpretation of the case was the concerns the court had when they arrived at the conclusion that they said it was vague, was based on more than one factor. The lack of mental state and, they didn't want violations of the law to be somewhat subjective. You could have accidental violations, ones that are not, someone may not have really understood what they were doing. And those are the concerns, and those are legitimate concerns, that someone may not be compliant with the law, but they didn't really understand it. Purposefully, you have formed the intent that this is what you're going to do, understanding that it violates a policy. If you didn't know and someone told you, hey, you can't do that, and you continue to do it, that's how you would have purposefully. It would have to be a blatant violation of it, and that's the intent the person would have to have. And on top of that, you reduce the penalty or eliminate the civil penalty. So I think
I think you and I disagree with what the court was telling the state about vagaries, and that highlighting the same exact things over again puts us right back to where we are, the only difference being purposefully and taking out the civil penalties. This is going to go right back to court. And we have to stop passing legislation for the purpose of going to court with it. This state can't even afford to pay for adequacy in education, never mind purposefully throw itself into yet another protracted court case.
If you have any suggestions on how to make this,
ITL, that would be my suggestion. That would be, that's my suggestion, is
I
that
would
we
welcome
not do this.
No debate without discussion of looking for information.
Senator
Uh,
Ward,
Senator
Senator Prentice. has-
Prentice?
Thank you. So, Senator Abbas, I do appreciate your approach at this and removing the civil penalties. But I'm going to go back to something I've already talked about twice today, and probably 20 times since I've been in the legislatures. Where are we actually intervening? And once again, here we are intervening in a classroom where it is, and even though we're not talking necessarily about the underlying bill, I just want to remind everybody that, well, from what I heard during the underlying bill is there is no, blatant disregard or groundswell that brings this about. So we can talk all about how to, tweak this in a way to make it fit, but the problem is still there. This is not needed. We should let teachers do their jobs. We are, again, meddling, in my opinion, in what's happening in the classroom. And that, I believe, look, I had, I don't have my paramedic license anymore. I'm still a paramedic, but when I had a license based on a certification, if I did something that I wasn't supposed to do, then that was in, I had a board that could actually pull that license. This, there's a piece in here about who is responsible for, for discipline if somebody, say purposefully violates that. I mean, I have respect for taking, that type of approach, but I just think that we are going too far. The courts have told us we've gone too far and we're back at it again. So why don't we just leave it alone? There's not a problem. Right.
Thank you. So, back to the amendment. Are you ready to vote on the amendment? I have an ought to pass,
If I didn't second, I second.
and all those in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
aye.
Aye. And opposed?
Nay.
2, there's 3-2. Okay, now we have the underlying bill with the amendment.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
we also have a second amendment. Amendment 2026-1475S that I'd like to bring forward.
You want to speak to it?
I
Um,
need a second, I think,
A
first.
point of order, Madam Chair.
Pardon?
I said I have a point of order. May I ask a question? Is it appropriate for a senator to bring forward legislation that represents the organization that they work for?
With all due respect, this doesn't represent an organization that I,
I'm sorry, it's about, this is a Charlie Kirk Act, and you work for Turning Point USA. How is
So-
that not relevant?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Senator Abbas?
I think we can just move on with the amendment at this point. We can just keep going forward. The amendment's been offered.
Has Senator Sullivan filed an intent with a conflict?
I'm not sure of any organization endorsing any amendment, and whether they endorse it or not, support is irrelevant, Madam Chair.
Do you want to respond
So you
to
can
that?
file a
I
legislation
don't think
named
any
after your
I don't think any
employer's
response-
founding member?
Senator Altshuler, will you wait, so we have each person having a chance to speak.
Sure.
Ask Senator Sullivan to speak to her amendment.
Okay.
Thank you.
The original bill that came to us had that title on it. That was what it was entitled. That was the intent of from the House with the original sponsor of the bill. I amended the bill. If there seems to be some conflict, I do not mind I'm already taking out the first half. If I was allowed to speak to the bill, I could to the amendment, I could address what we had, Senator Abbas and I had discussed because of his amendment. It would replace the first part of my amendment. So I would be only actually introducing on the amendment lines 27 and then the rest from line 27 down, had I been allowed the opportunity to actually speak to the amendment that I'm bringing forward.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Senator
may I please
Osterman?
have an answer to my question that the senator has brought forward an amendment 1475S, and the short title of the bill is an acronym for the founder of the organization for which she is an employee. Is that appropriate?
The title of the
Whether
bill-
she's only bringing in 4 lines, we don't know. That's what we have in front of us.
You're implying
Wait,
that
wait, wait,
something's
one
being
person
done
at a
wrong,
time.
Madam Chair.
One
I am
person-
The title
asking.
of the bill is irrelevant on the application of the law, number one. Number two, no one from that organization came in this room and testified before this committee, and I've seen nothing of that organization you're referring to supporting the underlying bill or whatever we amended it to. Personally, my opinion, I don't think that organization would support the underlying bill. I don't think they had anything to do with it. If you look at some of the First Amendment issues with that, for an organization that prides itself on talking about the First Amendment, I don't think they would have supported that. I think that was done when the bill was filed without consultations, my guess.
None
But
of
to
these
imply that-
sponsors, to the best of
imply
our
that my
knowledge, are
colleague is doing
employees.
something out of line
One
is out of
person-
line.
One person at a time.
To make those suggestions is out of line, especially without any, just because of the title of the bill. The title of the bill, I mean, if it had any application, that also would have been a First Amendment violation, because it's talking about right-wing, whatever. The title is egregious, they made an acronym. I don't think a pro-First Amendment organization like that would support that. I'm just assuming everyone's has the light on when they're thinking here. So
Oh.
to suggest that there's something being.
Senator Abbas, that's unnecessary. That's unnecessary. Ad
I'm talking
hominem
about-
attacks.
I'm not talking
I-
about.
I
you,
Not
I'm
believe
talking
to
about-
insinuate I don't have my light on.
Senator, again, with you.
That's not okay.
Order in the court. One person at a time. We're not having a debate back and forth. That is not what we're doing here. I want Senator Sullivan to explain what her amendment is all about. If you will please listen.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Once again, based on the amendment that Senator Abbas brought forward that he believes is actually more solid legally, well, more legally, would be removing lines 1 through 26 of my amendment and starting at line 27
And how far will you go
to the end.
to the end? So that will be a committee amendment?
Yeah, so Roman numeral 2 to the end, as long as it doesn't
3, 4, and
conflict
5.
with Senator Abbas's. I don't think it's that. Senator Abbas, do you see anything in there that would conflict with your amendment?
I didn't believe that it did,
Okay.
but I'm trying to track down your copy, which I have it on this desk, that I assure you of.
We've had so many amendments. Would you like to share my copy?
Sure.
Thank you, Trevor.
So we are discussing Senator Sullivan's amendment to
So,
House Bill 1792. The amendment is 2026-1475S. She is proposing to take out the beginning, line 1 through 26, and inserting from Roman numeral 2 to the end, which is Roman numeral 5, ending up with 10.
so educators defined in RSA 193:40.
That's the only piece I think that might
So
conflict with
if
what
you look at the amendment to 1488S on page 2, lines 1 to 3, all those Roman numerals, I'm without any electronic device at this point to look anything up, but I'm not 100% that's a conflict, because they're different Roman numerals, but they both seem to be trying to define what an educator is, so I would assume. I would need to look at the whole chapter to let you know that they conflict. And I guess Roman numeral,
I believe you had some
I think that,
changes.
but
you wanted to make.
because I struck language from the existing law, the Roman numerals in here are going to change. So would
Well-
believe the Roman numerals that Senator Sullivan, that she has in her amendment, wouldn't take into consideration the paragraphs that my amendment strikes. So I think
So
that
we'd have to
the
renumber.
numbers are just, the amendment,
The renumbering will
No, no,
happen.
they'll be renumbering, yeah.
Yes, yes,
That's,
so,
Senator Abbas, I believe you had some other changes that you wanted to make to
I-
some of the language.
just in looking at this, so, and I thought on line 28 of page 1, and I'm talking about Senator Sullivan's amendment, that's 1475. I would remove the language without including their opinions. I think if you're acting as a moderator and you're trying to pick, kind of juggle both sides, you're stating your opinion with incidentally. So I just think that may be difficult to, and then on line 30, where it says teach students.
excuse me, did you want the rest of the sentence?
You can leave the rest of it. I just think from a application perspective, that take that part out. Then
You just want without their opinions?
without including their opinions, those 4 words.
Okay, and the rest of it goes, values and ideological precepts in classroom instruction or debate?
That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. You'd have to take out the rest of the sentence.
You would?
The rest of the sentence would have to go.
Yeah.
So it would just be act as the moderators of classroom discussions. Or
You
you
do
put,
that?
or debates.
So in Roman numeral 2, little a,
Yeah,
act as the moderators of classroom discussions, period. Right?
Yeah.
Okay,
So, and then that would lead into the next, into B.
And for B, I would eliminate the beginning of the sentence. So teach students how to think, not what to think, and then the word "and." I would just allow ideas to be discussed openly when there is disagreement by means of, I think you can keep that, but I just think teach students how to think, not what to think. I understand what that means. When you put it in a written RSA, I think it loses any flexibility. So then it's, I don't think it's, you captured the point of what you're making, what you want to accomplish, I think.
okay.
by taking
So-
it out.
On page 2,
Madam Chair?
Senator Altshuler.
Thank you. So we're on page 2. Line 10, part 3, we're right back to mandate or encourage use of educator or student chosen names that educators shall not mandate or encourage use of educator or student chosen names that are inconsistent with those on their birth records by students or other educators. So I can't, use my nickname in high school right now. My name, my child can't go by their middle name because they're a junior, because that's not on their birth record. I think that we are trying to dip our toes right back into a backdoor way of attacking transgender students again, because this comes from all of those bills that we addressed last year. Why? Why can't we let kids be called what they want to be called in school?
Madam Chair, with all due respect, it doesn't say
Madam
that
Chair,
kids,
Senator Sullivan.
it doesn't say that kids can't choose what they want to be called in school. It just says that the educator can't mandate or encourage the use of, mandate or encourage use of educator or student chosen names, and they're inconsistent with those in the birth certificate. It just says the teacher can't do it. The children can decide what they want to be called and ask their peers to call them whatever they want.
But the teacher, if the teacher knows that a student's name is Samantha and Samantha wants to go by Sam, the teacher shall not do that.
It doesn't say that they,
The educators shall not mandate or encourage use of educator or student chosen names that are inconsistent with those on their birth records. It does say it. It says right there. They can't call their kid, they can't call kids by what they want to be called. And they can't encourage other students to acknowledge if a student named Samantha wants to be Sam, or a student named Samuel wants to be Sam, or somebody wants to go by their nickname Chief, like, or whatever, like Scooter. You can't do that. We've already been down this road. Why? Why do we want to go down there again? Why is this even in here?
Well, Senator Altshuler, I think that's fairly reasonable. You can't have order in the classroom if the kids come in with what you think is their name, and all of a sudden they want to be called something else. I think you have to, in order to remain order, you have to have some consistency. And if the child has a name, you call him or her by that name. I don't think that you should acquiesce to whatever the child wants to be called at that particular day. I think that's very reasonable.
That's not what this says, though. This says that you may not use anything, you may not encourage or mandate the teachers or anyone else in the school to use anything other than what's on that birth certificate. So if my name is Bartholomew and it's my family name, I can't go by Bart. I can't go by Hugh.
Okay? Any other discussion? Senator Prentice.
Thank you, Chair Ward. I think we are just continuing to double down on bad policy here, to fix an underlying bill that we heard overwhelmingly, I know we're not to the underlying bill yet, but overwhelmingly in the committee hearing, that there's no groundswell. There is not a major problem, and and we already know that there are legal cases out there that are addressing parts of this. So I'm just trying to understand why we're spending all this time trying to fix something that's just bad. We should just dismiss this. You know, there is a law that's in place. It's been challenged. Let that all work itself out. But we are tying ourselves up in knots over, in my opinion, over a problem that does not exist. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, we vote on this committee amendment.
Can we get clarification on the changes made to lines 30 and 31 on page 1? I didn't quite catch that.
Now you're talking about the amendment
Oh.
1475?
Yep.
yes.
Okay.
So I don't know how this would fit in. I'm not sure how this policy would end up fitting into RSA 193:40, or because I guess because 193:40-A was a new chapter being created, essentially. Like we were the underlying bill was trying to create that.
So
So
that-
I guess by having this in there, anything that, it's making references to 193:40, but it's still creating the new chapter, I suppose.
Okay, let's get back to the amendment.
So what's your suggestion, Senator?
So far, I have striking from lines 1 to 26, and
Yes.
then striking without, or ending the sentence after discussions
Wait,
in A, and then I thought there was mention of changes in B, but I didn't catch those.
And B would be,
Get rid of teach students how to think, not what to think, and.
period,
So those are the
allow
words.
ideas to be discussed openly.
So it starts with the word allow.
Okay.
And the rest of the amendment will be from line 27 to the end will be included as a committee amendment in the bill.
But all I'm asking is, are we still creating a new chapter with that language, or is that going to go under 193:40? That's all I'm asking.
No,
I don't know the answer.
yeah, I don't either. I'm sure we're going to hear about it.
I'd like to make another, to my colleague's point on line 11. There are children that do go by nicknames. Their legal name is not necessarily the name that they go by. So I would be comfortable with adding without parental consent. So on line 12, it would say on their birth records by students or other students without parental consent.
What was the end?
Without parental consent.
Okay. I mean, it's going to be,
So if a Samantha wants to be called Sammy at school, but her parents really want her to be Samantha, now we're causing an issue that the school has to deal with because Sammy wants to be called Sammy, and the parents are like, no, you got to go by Samantha. Like, that's what we want. And again, here we are. Let's let the administrators take on one more thing, because we can't possibly have a kid know how they want to be addressed as a human being. Yeah, Bartholomew's got to be Bartholomew if his parents are super into that name and cannot choose for himself that I'd rather be Bart.
okay, so I have the committee amendment that we have just discussed. And did you get that last thing without parental consent?
And that's after educators?
Yes, please.
Yep.
So all those in favor of the committee amendment, which is paragraph 2 through the end, and the others corrections or changes to the end be included in the bill.
I'll support the committee amendment. I'm hoping it creates a new chapter for,
Yeah, well, we can take a look at that, I think, at some point.
Are you asking for the vote?
I'd like to have a vote on the changes that we've just made in the committee amendment.
Aye.
Aye. Abbas? Aye,
Yep,
okay. Opposed?
Nay.
aye.
Sorry, I think we do need a second on,
Pardon?
I think we need a second on the committee amendment.
I think we did.
Did we get a second?
Do we?
We'll do it over just so you have it.
Yeah.
So I'd like to make a motion to bring forward amendment 2026-1475S
With the changes.
with the changes proposed by the committee.
All those in favor?
We need a second.
Second.
Second. All those in favor of the amendment as proposed?
Aye.
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 Aye. And opposed?
Nay.
Nay. And nay, so that's 3-2.
Madam Chair, may I
Yes.
have some clarification on this? So House Bill 1792 is going to come to the floor with Amendment 1488S as Senator Abbas's amendment. However, Amendment 1475S is going to come forward as a committee amendment?
Yes, well,
All of it,
Or are you going to combine both of these together?
OLS combines it as a committee amendment. No matter, either way, Senator
So these-
Abbas's would still come forward as a committee amendment if we didn't.
Are they coming forward as a singular committee amendment or
Correct.
two committee amendments?
Correct, one committee amendment.
okay, back to the bill. 1192. and-
1792.
and With the amendments as proposed. I have a note to pass on the bill, and I'm looking for a second. I'll second the bill. 1792 FN. To pass with amendments. Ready to vote?
Did you have,
All those in
Senator
favor of the bill?
Senator Prentice has something to say?
Yes, Senator Prentice?
Thank you, Chair Ward. I just once again want to emphasize here that we are doubling down on bad policy, and we are twisting ourselves into knots to fix an underlying bill that we heard is significantly flawed. The content of the amendments, while well-intentioned, I respect the work of my colleagues, doesn't get us any further. We already have dealt with this in law. There are legal cases and findings that are out there. We should just leave this alone. It's just doubling down. So that's it. I'm done.
Thank you.
My voice out.
You need to save your voice. Okay, all those in favor of ought to pass with amendments on House Bill 1792?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, aye.
Aye. Okay, those opposed? Opposed? Two.
Nay.
I don't know. You want to take it out?
I'll take it out. Thank you.
Senator Abbas will take it out. Well, as far as I know, that concludes.
Well, we have 11:55 still.
The what?
11:55. HB 11:55.
11:55?
Yes, I believe.
I don't have 11:55.
I don't think that's an FN one, but we can,
Well,
Okay. That is the bill that we have to review. DHEC. Senator Prentice.
I'll make a motion, ITL.
IPRD
Second.
Bill.
Yeah, ITL the bill, and I'm happy to speak to it. So what,
So how come I don't have 11:55?
if I may speak to it, what I heard during the hearing was that, and I did speak outside of the hearing, was some people that both supported this and were opposed to it. But what was clear to me is that there's a problem with this council and people that they basically want to eliminate the council because there is a problem with, maybe say certain people, one or two people on the council that are making it a difficult place to be, and it has gotten away from its purpose because of that. My experience has been professionally that when you have those problems, that you deal with the problem, not eliminate a program or a body that has a place. We heard people came in who are on this advisory council and spoke against this and said, we're on it. There's a problem with it. The problem needs to be fixed. We don't want to lose this council. So that is why my motion is ITL. Thank you.
Okay,
Madam Chair? May I
Yes.
speak to it? So, and I agree, there are people on both sides. However, since, when I was in the legislature previously, HEAC was having these problems, and it was brought forward that there is another sort of grassroots organization that is there for people. The laws that we have now in place have been more easily, like, they kind of sort of, HEAC sort of did their job. And that there's just so much strife that people have been asking to dissolve this for a long time. Also, my concern is that it's using resources from the Department of Education that don't need to be used to be able to go there for their meetings. So I think from my perspective, from the conversations I had, there is another organization that helps out. There are a lot of online groups, too, like Facebook groups and stuff, where they come together and discuss these things, and that HEAC is kind of timed out.
I'll go along with the
I'll give
RTL
you
of the
content.
bill, but I also think we should go with something like, they really have to take a look at the composition of the council. That is very important.
but I thought, thinking 1268, I want to say. I think that included a repeal, so maybe you want to reconsider.
I don't know.
I thought it did. I'm going off of memory, so
It is a repeal,
I may have just said the wrong numbers.
11:55.
perhaps an interim study. Like a preference.
Where do you see that reference?
Kind of threw it out there. Hope I got it right.
What are you looking for?
Which bill?
It was the other,
Amendment for 1813, sorry.
the bill we had on homeschool education. I thought in
1268?
that bill, there was a provision that repealed the council as well. So, again, we may not need both, but perhaps we interim study this one.
We talk about the framework of the home education program, right to home education for his or her own child, personal liability, makes his report, cross-reference. I don't see a repeal of the HEAC.
1268. I thought it was, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I just got a little excited and put all my stuff away
Yeah, well, okay.
on page 5.
So I have an ITL on 1155.
1 second, please. 1268, in what part, Trevor?
You second it? Senator Prentice says ITL.
They had that change. Which part? Sorry.
Senator Sullivan, did you second it?
I did not, no.
Okay.
Trevor's looking up something for me.
We voted 1260? I didn't record it on my sheet.
Can we just recess for 2 minutes?
Sure. 2-minute recess.
It's on page
So-
5, 1216.
So it was ODP 32?
I don't know why I don't
And who's
have
taking it out?
1155 in here.
No, not yet. We still
We
haven't
would be
voted on
ITLing.
1155.
We would be ITLing and then passing the same policy in the same,
So where are we with this? Are we,
we're in recess.
okay.
Oh, sorry, Councilman Ward, I didn't hear you.
All right.
Out of recess.
So the question was if that, the language of HB 1155 was actually in another bill that we had already
Passed.
passed or dealt with, and it is. So I'm comfortable going forward with the vote.
Well, I would just ask that we instead of perhaps an ITL, why don't we make an interim study motion on the 1155?
Because 1155 is already in 1268. It repeals the whole thing.
Yes, but I think the motion right now was ITL, so I was kind of hinting to my colleague, maybe withdraw the,
I didn't make the motion.
you did not.
I made the
But you-
motion.
Sue made the motion, but,
So-
I mean, maybe we just go through the vote. Let's see what happens.
I mean, so the question becomes, if where this language has been fit in, which I voted against, 1268, then if that fails, and if that passes, it's repealed. If it fails and it's not repealed, I voted against that, so I've already put a stand on the books, but I'm fine taking a second vote, either ITL or an interim study. And I don't think it hurts anything. I appreciate what we've just gone through, but, you know, so I'm going to withdraw my ITL.
I'll make a motion for interim study.
I have a
I'll second.
motion for interim study with a second.
So,
Does you want to debate it?
No.
Discuss it further?
No.
Okay, all those in
God bless.
favor of
No.
interim study on 1155?
Aye.
Aye.
Senator Schiller?
I said aye.
Yeah, same here.
Nobody opposed?
No.
Okay, that's 5-0.
I'll move for consent.
Move to consent.
Second. Senator Ward, before we conclude, I'd just like to make a statement, if you don't mind, because there were accusations made against me. There is, to the best of my knowledge, Turning Point USA or Turning Point Action, which are actually two different organizations, neither were involved in the creation of that bill, to the best of my knowledge. I don't know the sponsor's intention. I was not the sponsor of the original bill. I was not a co-sponsor of the original bill. When a bill comes before this committee, it's our job to listen to things in the hearing and then conduct business accordingly and make changes that are appropriate. And that is what I did with that legislation. I just want to make that perfectly clear.
Thank you. I'm looking for who's going to take out 1155. Do you want to do that, Senator Prentice? She's gone. She's gone. Okay,
We did.
I can take it out.
can take it out. Board will take out 1155. Okay, anything else that needs to come before this committee? If not, I'm looking for, to get out of executive session.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of, out, so that's adjourned?
Yes.
We still have.
We are adjourned.
still have
Thank you
a-
very much.
her to deal with it. All right. Sure.